LDBC, this is your boy, the Coach, live, on the Coach Show live. Okay, I had a brother send me an email, and he said, Coach, the pandemic is really tough. Me and my family. Coach, I really like the job that I have, but I'm trying to get a raise. Coach, how can I get a raise during the pandemic? Okay, now I'm glad you asked me this question, brother. And gladly I answered the email within a week. But brother, I'm glad you answered this question. Um, what I'm going to teach you and what I'm going to tell you, okay, is from the book of Daniel. It's from the story of Daniel in the Bible. Now I'm gonna tell you something. If you're not religious, that's okay. But I'm gonna tell you about Daniel. And if you do exactly what I'm telling you, you do it the way I'm telling you to do it. Your boss is either he's gonna want to give you a raise or he's gonna promote you. Okay. Either way, you're gonna end up making more money. And if you have to leave the job, then I guarantee you, if you've done what I told you to do, okay, he's going to either do whatever he got to do to keep you, or when you go to your next job, okay, use him as a reference, end on good terms, and he's going to guarantee that you get the next job, the better job. Okay? But these are the Daniel principles that I'm teaching you. It's not Coach Shelton Harrison thing. I just follow instructions. Okay? The Daniel principles. I remember one of the first jobs I ever had. I got fired. And I thought that I was doing a good job. I was working hard. I was doing all this stuff. And I'm sitting here upset. And so my unc, OG unc, got like, he, my unc's a millionaire. And he said, why you think they fired you? I said, man, because they hating, they bigots, they racist. He said, really? He said, so all of that. So they fired you because of that. He said, okay. He said, let me ask you some questions. I said, go ahead. He said, nephew, I need you to examine yourself. And see, my uncle already knew. My uncle already knew the answers. He knew what was up, okay? My uncle not dumb. My uncle been around. He knew what was up, okay? It wasn't that my job was being bigoted or being racist, okay? It was me, okay? See, when I got there, I worked hard. But my uncle said, were you thorough? I said, thorough? What do you mean? He said, how well did you do your job? He said, nephew, were you thorough? And I said, well, I thought I was. He said, okay, let me ask you this. He said, did your boss complain that you didn't do it right all the time? Yeah, sometimes. He said, then you wasn't thorough. He said, did you come late? I said, yeah, maybe every now and then. He said, I would have fired your ass too. First thing my uncle said. He said, I would have fired you too. And so, I'm saying this because Daniel was a man of principle. Okay, Daniel was a man of principle. Daniel was a man of integrity. Daniel was a man of honor, and Daniel was thorough. Daniel believed in thoroughness, okay? And I'm going to talk to you about being thorough. How thorough are you at your job? And the number one reason why people get fired from a job is because they're not thorough. They have no thoroughness. That's the number one reason why people get fired from a job. And, I'd ask you that because when you leave work, okay, do you check your work to make sure it's right? Does your boss have to come to you every 5 seconds, or does he come to you, and tell you, hey, listen, man, I noticed this was out of order. I noticed that this wasn't right or that wasn't right. Is your boss telling you this stuff? Because if your boss is telling you this stuff, then you're not thorough. You see, I got it to a point where I'm not making mistakes at the job that's costly. See, I used to always say, well, Uncle, everybody make mistakes. I said, yeah, but the mistakes you making, they're costing the company money. Think about it, okay? You got to think like a boss, my uncle told me. He said, you got to think like a boss. He said, think about it like this. He said, if a company got 100 people and if they coming in late, okay, even if it's 1 minute, and he said, what if they coming in 1 minute late every day, 100 people? He said, now there are 365 days in a year. Let's say these people work about 5 days a week, get weekends off. He said, do you know that if 100 people came in late, okay, for 365 days a year for 1 minute, he said, that's going to cost the company hundreds of millions of dollars because that 1 minute isn't spent being productive. It's not spent being productive. And, when my uncle broke it down to me like that, it became crystal clear. Are you coming to work on time? Are you prompt? Are you coming on time? Are you coming late? And see, you got to examine yourself. See, most people don't want to look at themselves as the problem. The reason why you're not making more money, well, look in the mirror. But people never, ever want to blame themselves. They always want to look for somebody else to blame. Are you thorough? I mean, are you checking your work? Are you checking your work? Are you prompt getting to your job? You see, those things right there, I mean, if I was a boss and if you're not prompt and if you're not thorough, I wouldn't give you a raise. And most people don't get promoted at a job because of thoroughness and not even being prompt. But you would think that that's common sense, but people nowadays, they lack common sense. Number 3, talking about the boss. Every job that I've ever had after I got fired, I never talked about my boss. I never talked about my boss in a group of people. Because see, you got to think about this, okay? You want this man to pay you every 2 weeks or every month. You want him to pay you, okay? This man's supposed to pay you. He's supposed to pay you, and you sitting around, you talking about the man like he a dog, okay? You talking about the man behind his back, okay? Then you smile in his face when it's time to get paid. I don't talk about my boss. Matter of fact, I don't even get in groups of more than one person. I don't get in groups of more than one person. And, you know, when I'm at work, there's nothing to talk about except for the job at hand. See, I've watched people at work. I watched the most successful people in jobs when I was coming up, and I noticed that they also did these things. They were prompt. They were thorough. And they only talked about the job. They didn't talk about their weekend. They didn't talk about this part. People, when they come to me, they know, don't come with me no nonsense. Well, what do you think about so-and-so? Go talk to them. And then I bounce. Well, you know, the boss did this. I don't care nothing about that. You better get out my face. Go talk to them. See, they know. At my job, they know, don't come to me with nonsense about the boss because I'm not going to entertain it. I'm not going to entertain conversations about the person that's responsible for my paycheck. That's just stupid. And that's also, it's going to be connected. It's going to be connected to you getting a promotion. Because if the boss, every time he see you, if you're being productive at your job, okay, the boss don't want to see you having, you know, just menial conversations on his dollar. No, they want you to be productive. And if every time he see you, you're productive, see, you're going to be in the back of his mind. You're going to be in the back of his mind. And as soon as he get a position that's open, he's going to talk to you about it. You're not going to have to apply for it. He's going to talk to you about it. You know how people, they apply for a position that open up at their job? See, that after I figured out the game, never. I've had bosses call me in their office and say, hey, you know what? I think you qualify for this job. If you apply for it, I'll go ahead and put the paperwork in, and you know, you can start this in a few weeks. I've had a lot of bosses do that, but this is because of the Daniel principle. This is how I carry myself. Okay, I'm not talking about the boss at work. I'm thorough. I check my work 3, 4, and 5 times to make sure that there are no errors in my work. If you're making errors in your work, you can hang it up. You're not getting a promotion, and I'm prompt. I can't stand it. I even hate it when, you know, I deal with fighters. And if I tell them a certain time, 30 minutes before it's time for the interview to go down, I send the link out about a half hour to 15 minutes before. Because I want to prepare for anything that could happen. I never send a fighter an interview at if I got an interview at 9 o'clock, I'm not going to give them a link at 9 o'clock. That's stupid. No, they're going to get the link a half hour ahead of time. Like when I was interviewing Miss Ann DeMars, Dr. Ann DeMars, Ronda Rousey's mom. She was like, oh, okay. Like she knew that this wasn't just an interview that, you know, I'm a fan. No, this professional. I sent Dr. Ann DeMars the interview link 13 minutes early. And you know, she was so impressed with that. Because, you know, I'm thinking people like Dr. Ann DeMars, they're busy. They got people coming at them. They don't have time to sit and wait for you. They don't have time to wait for you. They ain't got time. They got lives. They got stuff they got to do. Man, Dr. Ann DeMars was impressed. And Dr. Ann said, well, but I thought the interview was at this time. You know, I said it is. But I said, you have stuff to do. I got stuff to do. So I want to make sure that there are no errors before we start this. She was impressed big time. She was impressed. And you know what? Let me tell you what happened. I'm going to tell you what happened with that. You guys know in the interview, Dr. Andy Mars was saying, yeah, we need people to test our games. Do you know that this woman has sent me, 3 emails about, trying to help test games? And there's some kind of financial compensation for it? She's already sent 3 emails. You see what I'm saying, guys? Making money during a pandemic, y'all, it's not hard. But are you being thorough? Are you talking about the boss behind his back? Are you being prompt, and are you being productive? Are you being productive? You see, at your job, you always want to do the job that you're hired to do, but you want to go above and beyond. You have to. Because if you don't go above and beyond, okay, then you're just like everybody else. You're like everybody else. If you're not going above and beyond at your job, I'm talking about doing your job great, but then doing more, reinventing yourself at this job, coming up with ways to make the place more productive. You're just like everybody else in that job. The boss got about 1,000 people, 100 people coming to him about a raise. He can't give everybody a raise at the same time. What's going to make him think about you? Productivity, thoroughness, promptness, and also loyalty, meaning that you're not sitting around talking about them. See, guys, these things, they sound so difficult, but they easy. And actually, some of the stuff really is common sense. It's common sense. And you got to create opportunities. You got to create opportunities. Because of my Daniel principles, that impressed Dr. DeMars. Because of my Daniel principles. Okay, and it's just like that. See, I give off that energy because that's what I do 24/7. That's what I do 24/7. Now, let me tell you, you're not going to like these, Daniel, because when you follow the Daniel principles, let me tell you what's going to happen to you first. The first thing that I told you is that the boss, they're going to want to promote you. They're going to want to promote you. They're going to want to give you more money. They're going to do anything they can to keep you stay. That's number 1. But number 2, everybody at your job, they're going to know, okay, what you're doing, they're going to know. And they're going to come up with some kind of plot, some kind of scheme to try to get rid of you. They're going to come up with something to get you out of there. Because they know that you're a person of excellence. They know that boss got you on their mind. They know this. They know. They're going to come up with a plot or a scheme to bring you down, but have no fear. Because if you read the story of Daniel, when they threw the man in the lion's den, the man slept. He slept. He slept with the lions. Slept with them. Woke up the next morning, the king said, Daniel, are you okay? He said, yeah, king, I just took a nap with the lions. And the people that was coming against you, man, the king took them people and threw them people in the pit. And before they even hit the bottom, the lion had devoured them whole. So see, here's the thing. You're going to have some tribulations, and you're going to have people that come against you. You're going to have haters. They're going to do everything to bring you down. And at one point, it's going to seem like things are looking bad for you. But at the end, you will be exonerated. At the end, the people that was coming against you, they'll be out of your path. I've seen this happen almost everywhere I go, even in the world of coaching. I apply the Daniel principles to coaching. I don't talk about the people. I'll talk about them in retrospect. I don't say no names, but I don't talk to other parents about other athletes, about what I dislike. Even if they come to me with that mess, that kid disrespectful. I tell them I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that nonsense. Don't tell me that, because these are the people that I work for them. Honestly, I work for them. Now, I do it my own way, but typically these are the people they're paying me. I ain't finna go and dog out people that's paying me. Even if they dog me out, I ain't finna come back and dog them out, because that's the Daniel principle. Do you know I've had coaches, they've tried to come up with rules to keep me from coming into events because my athletes were just going in these places and dominating these meets so badly. On the high school level, like I'm talking about, I show up, they see me coming, and they already try to have little plots and schemes to try to keep me out of venues. But see, it don't matter. That stuff don't matter. Because if you're following the Daniel principles, you will always be vindicated. And every single time somebody tried to come up with a plot or a scheme to bring me down, guess what? That person have lost it all. They've always lost it all, guys. That's because of the principle. I hope this helped you. Are you thorough? Let's review what I talked about. Number one, are you thorough at your job? Are you making mistakes that's costly? Number two, are you prompt? Are you prompt at your job? Okay, do you come there on time? Because see, when you come in late to a job, it means you don't care about the job that the man gave you in the first place. Are you prompt? Are you a person of integrity? Are you a person of honor? Are you sitting at work talking about your boss? Talking about the man like he a dog, talking about the woman like she a dog, and then you want to go to that man or that woman for your paycheck? Are you a person of integrity? And two, do you have heart? Do you have fortitude to deal with the plots and the schemes that's going to come against you? But see, if you follow these principles and if you do what I'm telling you, you shouldn't worry about some plot and some scheme, because the Almighty, the Most High, He's going to vindicate you. And after that, it's going to be blessings. It's going to be monetary blessings that you ain't going to be able to control. Oh, and you do all of this without sitting around tap dancing and like trying to, smile in the boss face and no. I don't do none of that. I don't do none of that. And I tell you this now, brothers, if you at jobs and you sitting around doing all that huckabucking and all that dumb stuff, bosses, they hate that stuff. They hate that. They don't like that because they know it's not you. They know it's unoriginal. And they know that you're fake. When you do these things at a job, they know you fake. I don't do nothing. I do what I'm supposed to do. That's it. Are you sitting around at work? See, are you using the time talking and running your mouth instead of being productive? And that's the big thing. Are you productive at your job? Now listen, open yourself up. Don't come on. Don't tell me that I'm doing all this stuff. I don't want to hear that because you ain't got a raise yet. I've had companies losing money giving me a raise because I was so productive. I was helping the company. I was single-handedly in some places helping the company, even come close to making a profit when there are hundreds of other people in there because of my productivity. The company losing money and I'm still getting a raise. Listen, if you ain't got that raise yet, look in the mirror. You can't be doing it all perfect and the man ain't giving you a raise. Okay? It ain't because he bigoted. It ain't because they just don't like you. But maybe you're not thorough. Maybe you're not prompt. Maybe you're not productive. And maybe you're disloyal. Maybe you're fake.